extra time.
পরীক্ষার গুগলি হোক বা বাউন্সার, ছায়া প্রকাশনী হ্যাজ দ্য আনসার। ছায়া প্রকাশনী।
Hello and welcome to the Extra Time Football Show. This is your very own Suman Chakrabarti, and today we have two more special guests. One is Richard Hood, the Youth Development Head of All India Football Federation, and the other one is Lloyd Pinto, the Head Coach of India U19 side, to be precise. First of all, I'd like to go to Richard. Richard, the Indian U17 team is doing a world of good in the FIFA U17 World Cup. So, as the technical director of the youth development and all that in Indian football, so what would be your future plans which is going on?
I think the management has taken a decision to keep these boys together for the next few years, because looking at the last 36 months, there's been a lot of investment and exposure that they've got. They want to hold on to the process for a bit longer, and then we'll see the results in 5 years' time.
Well, this India U17 side is supposed to play in the U19 AFC Asian Cup squad as well, and being the coach of that, so what sort of exposure they'd be getting over there if the 17-year-old kids play over there in such tournaments?
I think the most important thing for the under-17 boys right now is to play matches. I think we've been through a conference right now, and the main emphasis that these the panel guests have said that we need competitions. So playing the under-17 World Cup is a major achievement for the under-17 World Cup team. I think the experience that they have got, the amount that the boys have matured during all the exposure trips that they've got is showing in this tournament, and I think we can use that at the under-19 qualifiers.
Richard, all these players have come up through the youth development ranks of Indian football. They have trained abroad. They have had amazing infrastructure which no other Indian team had over the years. So, according to you, do you think that playing in Indian football in the I-League will help them to a good extent, because these players have played against the best teams in the world in the last few years?
I think we have to take it as it comes, because the I-League right now is devoid of some of the best players that we have on offer in the country. It's not like the Pylon team earlier where every player in the country was playing in the same league. So a larger concentration of what's available in the country in terms of the player pool, they moved up to the ISL. So I think just in terms of the quality of opposition, and it would be suited to them, but they need matches like Floyd has said, and in the absence of that, it's very, very difficult to develop.
Floyd, you'd be working with Luis Norton de Matos in the U19 team, to be precise, for the AFC Asia Cup qualifiers. Excited?
Yeah, excited. As a coach, I always want to learn as much as possible. So I can learn from his experience in the World Cup. I can learn from his experience, from his previous coaching experience. And we've worked very hard for the AFC under-19s. So I'm really keen to see as to how he approaches the under-19 qualifiers, and I can give my inputs accordingly, and we take it from there as a coach.
Richard, the 2019, the year 2019 is marked as a red letter year, to be precise, in Indian football, because India have already qualified for the AFC Asia Cup in Qatar in 2019, and then if they can qualify over here in the U19 level, they will also be playing over there. So, as the youth development head, how do you see this development process which is going on in Indian football?
One is that it's not really sustainable for the long-term future for a country of our size for the association to concentrate everything on 30 boys is not very feasible in the long term. So we need to develop systems where we start to get the clubs to develop the players for us. We move into shorter camps like every other country in the world does, and then that will be the way forward. But what we've achieved, given the limitations, it's massive, and we need to look at the steps ahead where the clubs do the work for us and the association takes advantage of development being done by them.
Lloyd, in Indian football, what we always had, in fact, to be precise, the dearth of international experience if it comes in terms of the footballers. Now, through this U17 FIFA World Cup, teams like Borussia Mönchengladbach, Manchester United, teams like Werder Bremen, they're keeping their eyes on the Indian players. So, what do you think about this particular thing when you are approaching for the 2019 AFC Asia Cup qualifiers? Because if these teams rope on these players, then you might not have them in regular intervals throughout the preparation process.
See, the ultimate goal is what helps the development of the player. whether it is Manchester United or Werder Bremen or Borussia Mönchengladbach, if these boys are going to go to these countries and just train, it's not going to benefit them. They need to be playing regularly. So if these clubs are going to guarantee them playing time in their respective youth leagues, then it would be a big influence for these boys to go abroad, develop themselves and come back. We've had a lot of players, be it youth or be it senior players, go abroad and come back after a period of time. So I think these boys can use those guys as an experience and maybe take the right decision at the right time. The ultimate goal is for these boys to improve, and the only way that they can improve is by playing competitive matches, not just friendlies, competitive matches.
Richard, Indian football is going through a purple patch, as I mentioned just a few minutes back. But the most important thing for any good developing footballing nation is to have a bigger pool of players. So, after this U17 football team, what will be the backup plans? What will be the bigger pool of players? Or what will be the source of getting them in together on board?
I think we have to start thinking 20 to 25 years ahead, like any other mature football nation in the world does. We made the mistake of living life in 2-year cycles for the last 30 years, and we are facing the brunt of that now. So I think the baby leagues as well as local youth leagues emerging, where let's just say Calcutta has got a 20-team strong under 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 leagues happening over there. That will be the next step towards increasing the talent pool of players. Because going pan-India, expansive is not really feasible for a country of our size. So we need to prioritize our footballing hotspots and try and maximize the footballing exposure that we give the players within the geographical locations.
I have a question to both of you, in fact the last one. Louis Norton DeMatteis, AFF has given him the responsibility to nurture the young prospects of Indian football, create the roadmap for a longer and brighter future. So, during this FIFA U17 World Cup, did you have any special words or discussion with Louis Norton DeMatteis? I'm going one by one.
I haven't spoken to him or interacted with him much, but we start to see that the Indian team is responding to how football is played at this level. The team has a definite shape. We play at a good intensity. We have a high level of organization around us, and we're starting to see that teams aren't really expecting to be as successful as they did against us. Most of the teams came in thinking it'd be a cakewalk and things. So I think on those fronts, Louis has done what he's been hired for.
Floyd?
Yeah, I think I haven't been interacting with him on a regular basis, but having followed the team for a long time and having worked with most of these players during my time in AFF, you could definitely see that these boys are now much more focused and much more motivated to play an event like the FIFA World Cup. And we've seen from the last two games, the first game in the USA where we went 3-0 down, but the performance wasn't that bad. Maybe a set piece and a penalty was where we conceded. And that there was further improvement in the next match, where we lost out just by 1 goal to a very experienced and physically dominant Colombia side. So if we can continue that in the match today versus Ghana, and we can take that forward into the AFC Under-19 qualifiers, that would mark an improvement in his coaching tenure.
Well, as you have learned and as you have heard, to be precise, Indian football is very much on the safe hands, as these two tireless workers are incessantly trying to develop Indian football for a brighter future.
লেটেস্ট নিউজ আর এক্সক্লুসিভ ভিডিওর সঙ্গে আপডেট থাকতে এখনই সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন আমাদের ইউটিউব চ্যানেল। বেল আইকনে ক্লিক করতে ভুলবেন না যেন।